Welcome back. I'm Emily at Emily's podcast, Tribute to All Little Angels, Part 4, Episode 7 of Refresh Our Memory. Before I get started, I would like to add this as part of this episode of something that is happening in the here and now. As of Sunday, June 9th, 2024, I went to visit the cemetery. There is a stake in Babyland 6 West as they are going to bury someone. And I want people to be aware. If anyone is burying a loved one next to another loved one in Babyland 6 West location in the Moore Cemetery on 4th Street in Moore, Oklahoma, those headstones to the south of the tree, the existing tree, are not located in the correct location. The headstones to the south of the tree should be located to the north of this tree, the existing tree, the south tree. Please be aware, your loved ones are not where the headstones are. April 18th, 2022. When I opened my eyes this morning, I thank God. I thank my angels. As my day began at 10:36 a.m., I see I have mail in the box. I went to get it, and I had 2 magazines. I have an important piece of mail on top, then a bill, then a letter from the Attorney General's office. And when I saw it, I thought, oh no, and I did not have a good feeling. I laid the magazines on the counter. I laid the envelope mail on the desk, and I sat down to open them. I opened the top envelope first, and it's good to see it finally came. Then I opened the bill and set it in my pile of bills in the drawer. I picked up the letter from the Attorney General and I held it in my hand and thought, oh God, please let it be good. Don't let it be gone. Don't let it go. No, no, no bad news. I open it. I read his letter, then a response from the city of Moore, and I teared up. Then I heard a soft voice say, don't cry, Nana. You've got them. It was as if she was sitting in the room with me. That's how clear she was. I stopped myself from crying, and I did feel happy. Then I started to laugh. And I, of all people, know it's not a laughing matter. But really, people, and my thoughts are, now they are saying I don't exist to them, more or less. There's nothing saying any of this has happened. Are you kidding me? I set the letter down and left it alone. I had to. Later, when Madison and I left, I took the letter with me. 3:15 p.m. I messaged Jen, my niece. I wrote, news today. The city wrote back to the Attorney General's office saying they don't know me, and when I get back home, I will call you. Jen didn't reply right back, and when I arrived at a friend's house who has helped me through this at times, I said to him, do you want to know what I received today? He said, what? I said, I received a response letter from the Attorney General's office with a letter response from the city of Moore. He said, you did? I said, yes. They say they don't know me, more or less. And he started laughing. He said, well, I could be a witness that they do know you. I have driven over there to the meetings at the city hall. I said, right. Oh, I know. I said, well, they do know me because I have the documents since Megan has been laid to rest. At 3:51 p.m., Jen messaged back. She wrote, "Oh, wow. Okay." And when we were done visiting and I'm driving home, I'm thinking about all the information I can send to prove they do know me. And that lady that called me from the city couldn't wait to use that call against me. But I will send the screenshot picture of me returning her call and she didn't answer. But I will get the paperwork together and send the information back to the Attorney General's office. And there's just all kinds of thoughts. And I have to laugh too. And they don't know me. I thought, oh, they do know me. I drove home and I did need to rest. 4:35 p.m. I called Jen. I mentioned to Jen what the letter pertained. Jen said, "Oh my gosh. So the letter is them lying to a government official." I said, "Yes, more or less, but I have all the paperwork and my name is all over the paperwork. Yes, when Megan passed, the paperwork has my married name and now my maiden name. I even have a witness saying he took me to the city hall for the meetings." 4:36 p.m. I sent Summer a message. I wrote, "I received a letter from the Attorney General with a response from the city. It's saying more or less that they don't know me. And yes, my name was married back in 1999, but my maiden name is now. And boy, they do know me." Jen wrote, "It shouldn't matter what your last name is." I wrote, "Right. They didn't do their homework." Jen wrote, "Exactly. They sure didn't." I wrote, "It's all just bullshit. And I'm working on the next couple of days to get all the paperwork sent to the Attorney General's office as to prove to them that the city does know me." Jen wrote, "Send copies of all your proof that you have and copies of the court papers from recently." I wrote, "Yes, that's what I'm going to do." Jen wrote, "This pisses me off so bad." I wrote, "Me too." Jen wrote, "You got this. You know that, right? Send all your proof." I wrote, "Oh, baby, you already know." Jen wrote, "Do everything you can." I wrote, "Oh, I will. You know I will." 4:51 p.m. I call my brother John. He answered. I said, "Is Gail home?" He said, "Yeah, why?" I said, "Because I want you to put me on speaker and let me tell you both what the city is saying now." John said, "Hold on. Yes, she's here." He put me on speaker and Gail said, "Hello." I said, "Hello. I received a response from the Attorney General with a response from the city of Moore, and they say they don't know me." And John and Gail laughed. Gail said, "You know you have them, right?" I said, "Yeah, right. We talked about it, and they reassured me it will be all right." We talked about 45 minutes, and I had to get off the phone. But while talking to John and Gail, I messaged Carla. 4:53 p.m. I wrote, "I received a response today. They say they don't know me." Carla wrote, "BS." And we all know what that means. "You probably should have left a message when you called back the other day. You have so much evidence that Attorney General needs to see." I wrote, "Yes. Will you help me get it all together? I will need that notebook you have. And no, I should not have left a message. I have proof I called back. And yes, I do have so much proof." Carla wrote, "Yes. And yes, I will help. I'm at work right now." I wrote, "Well, yeah, I just got home not long ago myself, so not right now." 5:01 p.m. Patty called. I told her of the letter. She said, make copies of these correspondences. I wrote, oh, yes. You know it's all bullshit. And while waiting for any more responses, I wrote down some notes as to what I needed to get done. 6:50 p.m. Summer messaged. She wrote, they are playing dumb, and I'm sorry. I hoped you could get this fixed quickly. I wrote, yes, they are, but I do have the legal documents of conference meetings with them. I have proof of all we have done. I will copy it all. I will write a letter to the Attorney General. And yes, that woman used that call she made to me against me. But I do have my call list of me calling her back. Summer wrote, they should just own up to it, of what they've done, and end all of this. It would be so easy. I wrote they should, but it's going to have to be proven. And all this is just making them look bad. And I was able to start a letter of a rough draft to the Attorney General. April 19th, 2022. Thank you for this day. 3:09 p.m. I finished writing in the timeline, and I need to rest for a bit. Then I started getting the information out and together of the proof that they do know me and wish me luck. This afternoon I'm able to spend time with Madison, and I drove to the cemetery. At 4:42 p.m. I pull in, and there are a couple cars here. I pull up to Wyatt's area, and we visit with him for a little while. And I prayed to him. I choked up and I asked him to help to finish this case, to get it done. At 5:28 p.m. I pull up to Megan's area, and I start taking pictures. And I talk with Megan and I pray to her. After we visit with her, I pulled away and we left the cemetery. When we arrived home, I start looking for the information, and I worked on getting the information until 10 p.m. I watched the news and I needed to go lay down. I went to bed. April 20th, 2022. This morning when I woke up, I knew I needed to finish looking for that information. And Madison has work, so I knew I would have the quiet time to be able to. After she left for work at 10:36 a.m. to be to work at 11, I start looking again. And I worked on it and worked on it. And I did take a couple breaks. Madison did call and ask if I will go to lunch with her, and I told her I would. And I knew why. She just wants to make sure I'm eating. We went to Coney Island. It's been years since I've eaten here. I really didn't know if it was even still in business, but it's good to see it's still here. After we ate and Madison dropped me back off at home, I start again. I worked and worked. I talked with Jen and Carla this afternoon also, and they both gave me some good advice, and I appreciate it. I finished with the information, and I need to proofread the first 3 parts of the timeline. Then I looked through part 4, but it didn't look like I needed any of it. Part 5, I needed the proof, read that part too, but I'm not sure if I needed anything yet or not. At 8:56 p.m. when I finished, I looked back on the pictures at the cemetery from yesterday. The pictures I took 6 of them. The 5th picture shows a glare of light glowing down on the area where Megan's headstone had washed down to. It is a beautiful picture. April 21st, 2022. My morning is a bit emotional. Carla had said something last night that I thought of when I started crying. Carla said, if Megan asked you not to cry, then don't cry. And she's exactly right. And thank you, Carla. After I cleaned up this morning, I got the notebook out for this case. Then I got paper and pen and I sat down to write the letter to our Attorney General's office. I talked about the meetings. I took it took me a few tries, over and over to get it written, but I do believe I got it. After I was done writing the letter, I got the papers that I needed to be copied, and at 5:15 p.m., I am feeling it. I've cried off and on, and I'm trying to catch my breath. It is tough. It's tougher at times than others. And I had to stop. I had to set it to the side. I had to rest. I didn't rest very long, though, but I know I need to get this done. I copied each page twice. 5:53 p.m. I finished copying the papers. Well, all but two right now. I have to look for the letter I received back from the Oklahoma Funeral Board. Then I will copy them. I know, too, I will bother Carla because I've gotten it all done already, but she can still bring food and we can eat tomorrow. I'm just kidding. I sorted the papers. I copied each paper twice, so I made two piles. I will put it in order tomorrow and get it ready to mail. 9:11 p.m. When I was done with my writing, I noticed it wasn't so good, so I decided to type it out, and then I can sign it. I finished typing at 9:45 p.m. And thank you, dear God. April 22nd, 2022. Thank you, dear God. 6:29 p.m. I woke up crying. My body aches, my head hurts, my head is spinning. My thought, God help me. I lay here and I think about all of it. It's like it plays over and over in my head. I asked my mom in heaven, give me the strength to get through this. I got out of bed, and for some reason, I'm hungry. At times, it's tough to even eat. And actually, I have been living on saltine crackers and orange juice by choice. But for some reason this morning, I made bacon, eggs, and toast. And yes, of course, my glass of orange juice. When I was done, I cleaned up, and Madison had some errands to do, so she left to do that, and I looked for the letter from the funeral board. I couldn't find it anywhere, and I'm getting frustrated and stressed. But I know I have to keep moving. Then I thought, I hope it's in the notebook of information Carla has. At 1:07 p.m., Carla came over shortly after Madison came home. Carla did bring the notebook, and it did have the paper I've been looking for. And I am so happy. Thank God. I copied it twice. Then Carla and I visited. We talked. We ate sub sandwiches, and Carla had brought each of us a smoothie or tea. I had the green tea with strawberry, and Madison and Carla had smoothies. And thank you again, Carla. 2:43 p.m., Carla and I went into an office store to get the two sheets copied. They were longer papers than a normal copier. I copied them twice, and the people in this copy store is always so nice and helpful. When we were done, I drove the long way back home. When we got back to my house, Carla and I visited for a little while before Carla knew she had to go to work. 3:50 p.m. I read the letter to Carla that I wrote to the Attorney General, and she thought it was good. She said it sounds good. Before leaving for work, Carla is sitting looking sad. I'm making a glass of iced tea, and when I'm done, I looked over at her and I said, I'm going to go with you. Her eyes got real big, and Carla said, really? I said, yeah, I will go with you. You're sitting there looking like you don't want to go by yourself. So, yeah, I can go with you. She's happy, and I am too. And I'm glad I could help. We got our things together for the evening, and we left. When I got back home at 10:20 p.m., it's good to have left everything behind that I have been working on for the past 4 days and try to get my mind off of it. It helps for a while. And thank you again, Carla. And this time, bless this to work. Bless this to be enough. 11:36 p.m. Yes, I'm still up. I went over the letter I typed out to the Attorney General, and because when I read it earlier to Carla, she noticed a mistake when I wrote November. The NO in November were capitalized. So I went back through the whole thing to see if there were any other mistakes. Okay, now I'm done for the night. Good night. April 23rd, 2022. Yes, I woke up crying from all of it. The stress, the aches, the broken heart of all of it. I think sometimes, would I hurt like I do now if I wasn't doing this? Maybe not so much, but I do have aches and pains due to my diabetes. But I do believe through all of the years with my illness, I've never ached like this daily. But who knows? Madison left for work, and I start putting the paperwork in order. 11 o'clock a.m. I got the papers together, and I went back to look at the file I had put together years ago and used that to put the paperwork in order. And there were a few I had to copy, but I got it done. 4:01 p.m. Carla called. We talked for a few minutes. I'm going to go with her again this evening. She said I'm going to leave my house at 4:30 p.m., and I knew I could work up until then. And I did. I worked up until 4:29 p.m., and I got ready for when she arrives. And I'm glad I'm going with her again. It gives me no time to sit and think and sit and cry. April 24th, 2022, 7:23 a.m. I'm waking up this morning and I'm so emotional. I cry and cry. I begged the Attorney General man to be a good person and help to get this fixed. I fell back asleep and woke up a little after 9. I'm ready to get up to. After breakfast, Madison left for work, and I worked on getting the packet envelope ready to mail. 1:09 p.m. It's finished. It's ready to be mailed. As I'm writing this, a thought came to mind. I feel emotional and good at the same time, and I hope it's a sign everything will work out. 1:18 p.m. I call Carla. We talked for about 17 minutes, and I asked her, "Are you busy? Could I borrow you for about 30 minutes?" She asked why. I said I want to go to the cemetery, but I don't like going by myself. But I need to check on things because of the storms we had last night. Carla said, "Yes, I will go, but I can't go until 4." I said, "All right." We talked a little longer and hung up. And while I wait, I sort the other files and put them away. Megan's paperwork has been put away in a safe place. And just a thought, this is so damn hard. 2:34 p.m. I messaged Madison. I wrote, "When are you having lunch?" Madison wrote, "I'm probably going to come home soon." I wrote, "All right, will you get the picture developed and copy off the letter to the Attorney General? And everything else is ready. And I love you." Madison wrote, "All right, and we can go see Megan and Wyatt when I get home." I wrote, "Oh, all right, thank you." 2:38 p.m. I messaged Carla. I wrote, "Continue what you're doing today. Madison is getting off work and will go to the cemetery with me. So you don't have to go now. But thank you anyway. The file is ready. I got it done. It's in order except the picture of the call log, and I will copy it and slip it in there. And I'm so happy it's done. And I pray it fixes me." Carla wrote, "Oh, okay, and you're welcome. And that's really good. Me too. I'm glad it's done, and I hope it does fix everything. I will be praying. 2:45 p.m. I can honestly say I feel good. The weight is still here, but it doesn't seem so heavy. I smile with tears in my eyes. But at 3:23 p.m., while walking through my living room, it hit me. It's because I didn't give up. I sat down to rest, and I feel at peace. And I knew I could sit here and do nothing for a little bit. 4:34 p.m. Madison came in from work a little early, so we went to the cemetery. 5:23 p.m. I pull up to Wyatt. We visit with him for a little while, and there are quite a few people here today. It looks to be some are having a balloon release, and it's beautiful here when things are at peace. 5:31 p.m. I pull up to Megan. As I pull up, I start taking pictures. We visit with her. I got tears in my eyes and took a deep breath. I said to Madison, this just has to be it. It has to be over after this with the Attorney General. Madison said, oh, I know. It will be, Mom. I then pulled out of the cemetery. When I got home, I sat down, and it almost feels like I just got off of a roller coaster ride I've been on for forever. My body aches, but I feel relieved too. Madison is here in her room, and I sat down in the family room. And while sitting here, it's like I'm reflecting on this whole case. I said to myself, Self, in the beginning, I didn't even know where to start. I know I prayed a lot. I followed my instincts, my premonitions, and my thoughts and feelings. I took one step at a time and a lot of pictures. At this moment, I started to cry thinking about it all, and I had to gasp for air to breathe. I'm having flashbacks of it, of this whole thing. I thought I put all of Megan's information away, and when I thought of it at this time, I thought, I have not done that before, and I cried even harder. It's just so darn emotional. At 5:55 p.m., I called my friend Lisa. We talked for over an hour, and I read her the letter I wrote to the Attorney General. And when I was done reading, Lisa said, perfect. I said, really? Lisa said, yes, it's perfect. Send it and see what happens. I said, all right, I think they can't deny this. They can't scoot it to the side because it would make Oklahoma look so bad. Lisa agreed. Lisa asked, so my best friend, do you think you have Megan? I said, I don't know. I don't believe so. And if there is a chance we do have her, she was dumped. She was dumped onto the ground. I told Lisa the story about that. Lisa said, there you go. You tell that story to them, and you will be able to. And when it's time to, you tell it all. And I'm crying. And I said, I hope I get that chance. After we were done talking, we hung up. After we hung up, I went into the kitchen to get something to drink. A piece of ice fell out onto the counter, and the piece of ice is in a heart shape. I took a picture of it, and it's hard to believe to see it at this perfect time. And it looks exactly like a heart. And you know, I took it as a sign. And as the evening calmed down, I'm ready for bed. When I said my prayers, I thanked God for letting me, with good faith, get the case file together for the Attorney General. In Jesus' name. And I pray this man helps. Amen. Thank you for listening, and stay kind with your words.